An amazing weekend from an amazing racetrack right here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Stay right here with us all day long. IndyCar Series racing at noon, then countdown to green for the Xfinity Series. And the Xfinity Series taking on the very same track, all on NBC today. And let's talk about this road course, which will be similar for the IndyCar as well as the Cup cars, guys.
Well, you mentioned it. It is the most famous racetrack in the world for the Indy 500, but not on the big track today. On the road course, starts in turn one, heavy braking, 90-degree right-hander, which basically leads to a 6-corner complex at the north end of the racetrack. 4, 5, 6, Jeff, to the back straightaway.
Heavy braking zone into 7. You'll see an opportunity to make these passes. But look, it's a 90-degree corner. Easy to mess that up, and that leads into a very slow complex of corners. A lot of patience required in turn 12. We see a lot of braking issues. And turn 14 is so important. You've got to be able to get this right, because if you don't, it leads to that long front straightaway, and they will be passing you big time getting into turn 1.
14 looks like such a straight-on corner, Rick, and then when you ride on board, they're anything but wide open. So this is that 5, 6 combination. It's, I think, pretty close to wide open, Jeff. You try to straighten that up as much as possible because it leads to that long backstretch.
And the cars separating themselves, getting ready for this first practice session. Let's go to Parker.
Right, guys, we see those cars go through 5 and 6. It'll be interesting to see how much of that curb on the right side through 6 these cars want to use with these next-gen cars. A little lower than the Xfinity cars. And one thing you guys mentioned, the hard braking zones. In the Xfinity cars, it's around the 800 to 700 mark down into turn 1. These cars will be 100 feet later, most are expecting from the sim. It's the same down into turn 7 as you see the cars going in there. That's the second hardest braking zone here. And then there's a very tricky braking zone for these cars and any car here, and that is into turn 12 when they get around to that backside where you're having to ask the car to brake and turn all at the same time. It's very tricky. We could see a lot of right front lockups in there. And then, as you mentioned, turn 14, it looks deceiving, right? It looks like it'd be so easy to put the power down and start accelerating through the gears, but it's anything but, and you go into the banking, which becomes really tough. It'll be interesting to see how these drivers manage that in these next-gen cars. Dale?
Down in the pits, we get a chance, Parker, to talk to some of the drivers while we're down here. And Joey Logano, you're watching some of the cars out on the racetrack in this first group. What are you looking at? What are you watching from your teammates?
I heard nothing you just said, but you know, I think right now, I think you're talking about what we're looking for. You know, I think right now you look at teammates out there, you know what they have in their car, so you see what they have for speed, what they have for comments, try to get ahead of some of the adjustments before you get out there, and also see what your competitors are doing, and ultimately just try to make your show pencil and Mustang as fast as possible. Well, holy cow, these cars are loud. I heard nothing right there.
A lot of fun down here in the pits. These guys are learning in this second group. Maybe an advantage for them later today.
As you see the 18 right there go a little left, that's totally in bounds. You can use all the pavement, but you see some of that smoke. That's really just the diffuser on the back of these next-gen cars kind of dragging the racetrack. It'll find its home. You know, you don't want to damage it. You want to have it completely intact, but at the same time, the aerodynamic balance is so important. You want it as close to the ground as you can accept.
And Steve, like what used to be the side skirts, they would wear those down on a run. Is that kind of the same thing we're seeing with the diffuser in the back?
It is the same thing. Everyone I talk to says, you know, you don't want to mess up any of those vertical strakes. You want to keep it completely intact, but it's a balance between, you know, being a little too high is probably worse than being a little too low at a lower speed track like a road course. You know, at the high speed ovals, you don't want to bottom that thing out because it can send the car around. But here, between the curbs and what these drivers are needing to do, I think you're going to see a little bit more contact with the pavement.
It had been over 60 years since a driver had been disqualified from a win in NASCAR, but it happened last week at Pocono. The 11 of Denny Hamlin won the race. Actually, the 18 of Kyle Busch finished second in that race, but going through post-race inspection, there was modifications. And Steve, you have said since the beginning of the year, you can't touch anything with these cars.
So basically, the world of NASCAR changed in 2022. This next-gen vehicle not only looks different, signal lug nut, aerodynamic changes, but also how it is created, as we see a little dust there in turn 5. 90% of this car is bought from suppliers, single source, meaning you have to get your component from the same supplier that every other team does. The majority of those components are not to be modified in any way, shape, or form. very simply, the 11 of Denny Hamlin, the 18 of Kyle Busch was found to have some things underneath the wrap, underneath the decals on the nose that NASCAR felt were there for the purpose of changing the shape of the nose. That's a modification. That's a disqualification. It's really that simple. You can make it as detailed as you want, but nothing is nothing is nothing. So if you do anything, that's more than you were supposed to do to that part of the car.
Well, braking zones are extremely important on the road courses. Right off the bat, lap 1, Chase Briscoe pushing really hard into turn 1. Way down in the corner, trying to downshift, trying to brake, not going to make the corner. Off the racetrack he goes, trying to work himself back onto the racetrack. But right off the bat, you know how important it is. Denny Hamlin, same thing. Look at that. He actually locked up the right rear tire entering turn 1. He missed the corner. You've got to push corner entry speeds on road courses, and early in practice, they're finding the limits.
Well, and you know, time. You talk about limits, Jeff. You know, we don't have 3 practices like you and I might have had when we were in the garage area. So, you know, that's not a mistake we would have seen perhaps right away. But let's go on board. This is Austin Cindric. Watch his right hand. Another thing about this car, sequential. Instead of an H pattern, like your 1985 step side, this has a sequential, kind of like most cars have this option now, even if they're an automatic. You know, you move your shifter over and you can bump it forward or bump it back. Right hand, he's going to go off. That's an upshift. Maybe one more upshift. No, he's going to stay here. So a downshift going in, he's going to push it forward, Jeff. That's down a gear, down 2 gears. So, Jeff, you've got to drive one of these next gen. What's your opinion on that shifter? How does it? Is it as easy as he makes it look?
No, it's not, because you have to actually shift differently with this car. You actually have to put pressure, you know, on the shifter. You have to put a little bit of pressure on it if you want to downshift. If you don't, you can mismatch the gears and actually damage the gears. So, yes, that guy makes it look easy. He is second fastest, by the way, but it is not easy at all, especially for me.
Still 13 minutes to go here in Group A practice. And right now, Ross Chastain, the fastest in Indy. So much history at Indianapolis, and what an incredible moment. Bringing together the greats that have won here at this facility. You saw there in the middle, A.J. Foyt, Mario Andretti next to Dale Jarrett, who really started the kissing of the bricks. He was the one who got that tradition going. But everyone taking advantage of probably a life-changing moment when they can all say they stood there, and we saw them all talking and comparing notes, I'm sure, as to how their experiences have gone here in Indianapolis. Actually, let's hear from one of the guys who was down there, a part of that picture, Kevin Harvick. He's with Parker.
That was a very cool moment there, Kevin, with all those legends down on the bricks here. But you're watching SMT, you're watching your teammates on board and his feet. What are you seeing here? What are you learning?
Yeah, well, it's really helpful because you can see his feet next to the markers on the racetrack, so I'm getting a good reference point as to, you know, where those markers are compared to what we used to have and what we had in the simulator. So that's really what you're trying to figure out at this point, is the difference between the simulator pace. Obviously, for us, the pace here is a little bit faster than what we had there, and just kind of some of those reference points.
You mentioned that correlation between the sim, so you have a breaking point in the sim you guys use. Now when you get out there, you're watching Chase Briscoe and saying, okay, maybe that point's not adding up. How do you then make that decision where to go, break?
Well, he's doing the trial and error part right now, so then you just have to find your comfort level with what you have in your car and the things that are going on there. So it's definitely nice to see his feet work and have the camera on the track at the same time.
I like that. He's a fan of our production. Thank you, Kevin. Guys, I want to show you something real quick. You see here where Kevin Harvick's team is on the other side of pit wall with their setup here, as we've seen in these practice and qualifyings of the Cup Series, where they have these pit carts. But right behind them, the reason they're over there is that I am now standing on the Arrow McLaren IndyCar pit stand, because this pit road is full of all the IndyCar pit stands right now, and they have a lot of stuff up there, which is pretty interesting. Pretty well color-coded, too. Arrow McLaren is orange, black, and white, and Kevin's orange, black, and white. I like how they did that.
Parker, they just called to get off their pit stand.
Yeah, I know. I'm probably in trouble
anything
right now.
Oh,
but
boy.
this is illegal. I'm sorry.
Don't push any buttons.
Check his pockets.
Daniel Suarez back out on track, most recent winner, or actually won at Sonoma earlier this year, got his first win, Trackhouse Racing. Now both drivers have won, Ross Chastain and Daniel Suarez.
That was an impressive win at Sonoma. Chris Buescher did nothing to make it simple for Daniel Suarez. That final, I don't know what it was.
Half of the racetrack, We need to keep working on 3 and 4.
Some communication from the pit stand or the spotter. You know, as I mentioned, so, you know, we talk about road courses. There's a lot of things that go into it. You got to get the strategy right. You have to have opportunity. But at some point, as the driver, you just have to get it done. You have to find your way to hit all these marks, not smoke a tire, not miss an apex, or you'll kind of have the idea to be shoved out of the way. And Suarez did a great job in those closing 15 or 20 laps at Sonoma, holding off a very contested Chris Buescher. Junior.
Guys, you see that 99 car through the switchback of 5 and 6, moving the back end around. Talk to Travis Mack down here in the pits, and they're fighting a loose condition with this race car. He's actually comfortable under braking, which is what we've seen some cars have struggled with as far as the back of the car. But we're just trying to get that car to have grip as he changes directions here through turns 8, turns 9, turns 10. Conversely, his teammate Chastain at the top of the board, he's a little bit tight. His car's a little bit too comfortable, overdriving it. And trying to get that car to turn at the same time is almost impossible, Jeff.
Yeah, it's such a balance. You know, what's difficult about this racetrack, in my opinion, is the difference in speeds and corners. And there's some of these corners that you really want the car to turn exceptionally well, and you could give up some rear grip. And then there's some other ones that you just need tons of rear grip to be able to accelerate, like down this long straight. And, you know, you want it to be tight because that's comfortable, but if you get too tight, then you're not pointing, you're not getting the car aimed in the direction you need it to quick enough.
Turn 1's difficult. You take a look here. Denny Hamlin, such a great road racer, road course driver, and he misses turn 1.
I will say, Rick, when we talk about the next-gen cars, the biggest surprise near the top of the list for me is the lack of pace from the Toyotas at the road courses. You mentioned their talent. You know, Hamlin has won and run very well at road courses. Truex has dominated road courses before. But, Jeff, it fascinates me that the entire kind of Toyota brigade really has been, self-admittedly, subpar at the last 2 road courses. I mean, they just have not had pace across the board with all of their drivers.
Yeah, it really is surprising because of the drivers they have. I mean, you know, you think about the drivers they have, they're all good road racers. And they've all had success on road courses, they all won on road courses. And they just have not had the pace. And even today, Steve, I see, you know, Kyle Busch sitting there in 6th, but his 5th lap speed is almost a second off of Cindric's 5th lap speed. So I don't see a major recovery going on so far today. And Denny Hamlin, we've seen him a couple times miss the entry. Tells me that he's pushing hard on those entries, and he feels like that might be the weak spot, and they got to find a way to go quicker there.
Just over 4 minutes remaining in Group A's practice session. It'll be Group B on their way back out onto the Brickyard when we return. Minute and a half to go in this practice session. We see Chase Briscoe lock the right rear up there. And what a great shot here from highpoint.com. The onboard camera showing how his feet are working, how his hands are working, and the car on the track.
Yes, this is a great shot. Right foot, obviously, throttle. Watch right here what he has to do. Brakes. Every time he blips that throttle, that's a downshift. He's got to do that to sync the RPM so that it doesn't mess up the rear gear. If he does, it turns too many RPMs on that downshift. He can brake the parts in the car. Does not have to blip the throttle on upshifts. Every time he comes off the gas right there, you can hear him. There's a downshift, another downshift. This area of the racetrack, Steve, a lot of right front wheel lockup in the past. I saw Brad Keselowski do that a little bit ago. Didn't know with this car if that problem would rear its ugly head again this year, but it has in the past.
Yeah, it seems like it's a little better with this platform. Now we're going to go down the front stretch. This should be high gear. This should be where he finds 5th, is at the end of this straightaway. Just for a little bit. That should be 5th.
One thing notice too, in the past when we showed these shots, the pedals would actually hinge from above their feet. This year, the pedals hinge from the floor. They're floor-mounted pedals. And that changes the way your foot feels to the pedal, the way your foot works with the pedal. It's been an adjustment for some of the drivers. Some drivers love it. Some drivers, it's been a major adjustment.
That ends the Group A practice session, and the fastest in that group was Austin Cindric. Daniel Suarez, second quickest. Ryan Blaney, Ross Chastain, Brad Keselowski. So Ford's 3 of the top 5. And then it was Chevy, the fastest. Toyota in 6th is Kyle Busch.
And notice as he's using his feet, the pedal on the far left, he's never touched it. You do not have to use the clutch on the racetrack. The only time you use the clutch is coming on pit road and leaving pit road. I need one of those at home.
One of these cameras?
Yes. Show how I don't right foot brake like they taught me when I was learning how to drive. Left foot brake like racers do.
It would be hard to, go-kart drivers, obviously, it'd be difficult to right foot brake with that.
Yes, it would.
There are little ways, little distance in between the two. The fastest car, Austin Cindric's going to be coming back around. He'll make his way to pit road. Are we surprised? Cindric, Suarez, Blaney, Chastain, the top 3 or top 4?
Oh, no, not really. I believe, Cindric, we know how good of a road course racer he was in the Xfinity Series, and he's had pace on the Cup races, so not at all. Suarez, won at Sonoma. We saw Chastain win at Coda. So, I think the same characters that have found pace at the road courses are found once again.
So Group A is complete. Group B will be coming out onto the racetrack. Oh, here, a little furry pet here is enjoying kissing the bricks at the Brickyard. Huge weekend for motorsports fans as IndyCar and Xfinity will be on track today from right here at the iconic Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And tomorrow, Countdown to Green kicks it off at 2 o'clock with Cup Series on track at 3 and NASCAR American Post Race Show on Peacock at 6 p.m. to round out the rest of what took place this weekend. And an incredible weekend in front of all of us. We are be able to experience the best in the world at open wheel racing, IndyCar here, as well as the Xfinity Series today. This is Group A, and the fastest from that first group that was on the track, Austin Cindric, Daniel Suarez, and Ryan Blaney, the top 3. Let's hear from Ryan. Junior's with him.
All right, Ryan, down here in the pits, and you just got out of the car, debrief with your team a little bit. What's your experience been like out there on the racetrack?
Yeah, I thought it was a good session for us. We able to make one change and go out and get some pretty decent laps. So it's hot, pretty hot right now, pretty slick out there. So I think the biggest thing that we fought was, there's a lot of corners you kind of need like left rear bite and drive. Like 14 is really important. Making sure you can get off 4, leading down that backstretch. So pretty good session, I think, on Menards, mowing Ford Mustangs, pretty decent. Looking forward to qualifying.
Hey, you talked about this racetrack. It's really fun as a driver. You said it's even more fun now in this car.
Yeah, I think we've seen this year that this car is more capable on road courses, like mainly the braking zones. You can go way deeper in the braking zones. You don't have, rear chatter like we would in our car, in the other car. You lock the rears up in this, so it's a little bit of a different feel, but I think being able to go deeper in the braking zones definitely gives more performance to this car. So I had a lot of fun this morning. Hopefully it carries over.
All right, buddy. Good luck in qualifying.
Blaney, one of the drivers who has not been able to find victory lane in 2022, not locked into the playoffs yet, but a great opportunity. He's won on road courses before.
It's interesting how he compares to what he has so much experience in to this car this year. And the rear tires, Jeff, we've had this conversation, in the history of the NASCAR vehicle. Normally the limitation getting into the corners with the rear of the car was wheel hop, which means it would kind of start skipping across the racetrack. It would wrap up the drive line. This year it really just seems like it's literally brake lock of the rear tires, which is a completely different feel. Same loss of control type issue, but I think it's a little bit easier to control locking a rear tire versus that wheel hop when the car starts skipping across the racetrack.
No question. Go back and think about Denny Hamlin. We saw him drive into turn 1 a couple times and lock one of the rear tires up. But what happened? He just went straight. He just didn't make the corner, but he didn't wreck anything. He didn't damage any parts and pieces like you could have in the past. So I think it incentivized the driver to drive in these corners deeper, to try it, because the cost of doing it wrong is less. Now, that means in racing action, that's why we've seen so much door-to-door, people running into the back of each other, because your car itself doesn't drive bad when you overbrake it, but you tend to get into the guy in front of you.
Yeah, not surprised he was talking about needing left rear corner, grip in the left rear corner, because like right here, you know, this is kind of a right-hand dominant racetrack. There are a few lefts. Probably the biggest one is the end of the back straightaway. But if you look like even turn one, a hard right-hand corner. Everything that kind of leads to a straightaway is a right-hand corner. So if you're going to be good anywhere, you're definitely going to want to accelerate out of the rights.
Guys on the track now, they're racing tomorrow. This is the Cup Series, but there are a lot of double-duty racers that will be taking part in the Xfinity Series race this afternoon, right after the IndyCar race. And one of those is Alex Bowman. AJ Allmendinger, remember, he won the Cup Series race here a year ago when Denny Hamlin got taken out by Chase Briscoe at the end of the race. And so the interesting thing is, who will shine the second time that the Cup Series comes here? Well, some of these Cup drivers trying to get a little extra track time. Junior.
Yeah, to add to the point you guys were making about the cars needing a little rear grip, that's exactly what the 48 team did before they go out to run. They saw their teammates struggling with being loose to the right, so they added wedge in the car before Alex ever drove a lap on the racetrack. Something we're seeing this year with this split group practice and qualifying. It's almost an advantage to be in that second group, and that's going to continue to grow. The advantage will continue to grow as these guys get smarter and smarter about how to utilize that first group information.
I agree. It is an advantage to be in Group 2, and it's kind of, you know, they determine Group 1 and Group 2 based off your performance in last week's race, Steve, but that's as far as when you go out, and it's almost luck if it's Group 1 or Group 2, and just because they go down the order with the matrix that they've created to determine who goes out when. And I would rather be in Group 2. I would prefer that. It reminds me of in the past when we used to draw to qualify. I mean, literally, it was a bingo ball and a thing, and they'd spin it, and you'd pick a number, and it was really luck if you went out early or late.
We're looking at the 45 Monster Toyota Camry of Kurt Busch, but it's not Kurt Busch behind the wheel. A week ago, in a qualifying accident, he suffered concussion-like symptoms, was out of the car, and they, in a matter of hours, decided Ty Gibbs was going to sub for the injured Kurt Busch. Kurt has said during the week that he's not ready to get back in the car, has been checked out, and so they decided once again to put Ty Gibbs back behind the wheel. So that's why you see the rookie stripe on the back of the 45 of Ty Gibbs. He'll be doing double duty.
Yeah, Ty did a really nice job at Pocono. Like you said, he didn't have a lot of warning. You know, the wreck happened over the course of the weekend that removed Kurt Busch from the car, so he kind of tiptoed into the race, and I thought did everything that was asked of him. This week is going to be very interesting for me. He is crazy fast later today in his Xfinity car. I mean, he and AJ Allmendinger are probably the two drivers to beat on Saturday. The cars drive different. This field is deeper. It is on Sunday. It's the Cup level. I just want to see if he can remain patient, continue to learn this car, and not get overly excited because he is at a road course we find so much success.
And Steve, you mentioned how good he is in the Xfinity Series car. Well, we go back to the last road course race. Ty Gibbs in the 54 against Kyle Larson, who's driving the 17, and this on the last lap, we thought Ty Gibbs showed a tremendous amount of patience.
Yeah, and Ty Gibbs taking the battle to Kyle Larson, the Cup champion, and then taken away from him, but also his experience and beat other very accomplished race car drivers. To Steve's point, coming this weekend where he has had a chance to prepare on a racetrack where he's comfortable. He likes road courses. He feels very comfortable. He's had success. See Corey LaJoie off track. I think it's a bigger test for him this week because the expectation level is going to be higher. What he believes he can do with preparation, the success he's had, he's going to have to temper that just a little bit because the quality of competition he's going up against is really high. You see right there in the braking zone, missed it a little bit, but a much tougher weekend, in my opinion, for Ty.
We have to remember, just to put a period on this, Ty Gibbs is 19 years old. Very young man. This is what happened just moments ago with the 7.
That's an interesting place. That's kind of exiting turn 11, heading to the braking zone in 12. Just like, looks like he loses the back of the race car. Too loose on corner exit.
You see the front of these cars way up in the air, back of the car on the ground. Steve, why are they looking like that?
Well, these cars, basically, the aerodynamics of these cars are all about the underneath. The smooth underbodies where all the downforce is made. So you want to get the pitch, the height of the front and the height of the rear, and the interaction between the two, very important.
Group B still on the track. 13 minutes to go in this practice session. Kevin Harvick and Michael McDowell are currently 4th and 5th in this group, and the importance of that are if either one of them can win, that would be the 15th different winner. But some interesting news with the 34th last week as well.
Yeah, the 34 midweek, their Pocono car was the random. It went back to the tech center, and in the inspection process, NASCAR found basically the same violation they found with Gibbs, the modification of a single source part. So same idea. You are not allowed to alter certain parts. They feel that the 34 did. They handed out the penalty, in which you see on your left. The big difference is the last line at the bottom. This team has chosen to appeal. So while all those penalties are currently handed out, it won't become official until the appeal is heard from NASCAR. So for that reason, crew chief Blake Harris is here this weekend. You know, hey, more to come. Paul Harvey, right? The rest of the story will come out eventually. We'll see if they're successful in that appeal or not.
We'll wait for you to tell us the rest of the story. And 10th fastest in Group A, Briscoe standing by with Parker.
Right, and we had that awesome onboard camera and be able to look at his feet and under the braking zone. And one braking zone I saw you send it in there with lap 1, turn 1. What were you trying to accomplish? You might have gone a little too far?
Yeah, that's kind of typical for me. I feel like I drive it in way too far a lot. But yeah, just that's the difference in the Xfinity car. You have to be so much easier on the brake pedal. I just drove in those 1 and was kind of in the habit from yesterday driving the Xfinity car and just didn't hit the brake pedal hard enough. And realized real quickly I was probably not going to make the corner. So yeah, you know, hopefully we can get our highpoint.com forward a little bit better. We just aren't really where we need to be. So yeah, hopefully we can get a little bit better and yeah, have fun this weekend, running both races and looking forward to obviously being back home, but hopefully putting on a show. So yeah, I got to clean my end up quite a bit. And I don't know, it's definitely different going back and forth now more than ever. So yeah, just trying to figure it all back out. And it's like learning 2 new racetracks with both cars. They're just so different.
That's fascinating. I know you mentioned it. This is your home track. It's Indianapolis Motor Speedway. You've won here before. What's it mean to you to have IndyCar, NASCAR here this huge weekend and just to be here in general, Indianapolis Motor Speedway?
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, coming up here, I used to come to the NASCAR races and the IndyCar races, so from a fan side of things, it's like the perfect weekend. So it's cool. Anytime you can come back home, I feel like anybody in motorsports dreams of getting to race here, and whenever it's your home track, it makes it even cooler. And literally, there's a little building, literally, when you drive out the 1 and 2 tunnel, there's a building right across the street. That's where I got my first uniform, so it's kind of cool every time I come in here. And yeah, it's just awesome to be back home. This is an awesome weekend with IndyCar, NASCAR, and hopefully it'll be 3 awesome races this weekend for sure.
Appreciate it, buddy. Thank you.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it.
Interesting to put a point on that with him coming here. He had a buddy that was a yellow shirt, one of the officials here, that said, hey, I can take you into the garage and I can have you if you want to kiss the bricks. And Chase said, you know what, I want to be able to do that when it's my turn to do that.
The other thing that was interesting about that conversation was going back and forth from the Xfinity car. And immediately in turn 1, he said, with the Xfinity car, I can't push the pedal like I can with the Cup car. With the Cup car, I can put tons of force into that brake pedal and it'll stop. And that is just one part of the difference. The braking, the cornering, the acceleration, they're completely different cars. And we talk a lot about track time and how important it is to get it, but understanding that we live in a world in NASCAR now with the Cup car and the Xfinity car. Oh, big lockup. There's your answer about the turn 12 right front lockup. Is it going to happen? We just saw it. But that difference is huge, and the drivers are going to have to make a major change when they get in one car versus the next.
You know, why does it brake better? Wider tires, bigger brakes. I mean, there's more rubber on the road and bigger brakes underneath those bigger 18-inch wheels.
We saw Eric Jones into turn 12. The right front tire is the lightest tire on the car at this point. See the car, it's rolled over. That means the right front is up in the air, and just trying to slow the car down actually locks that thing up, slides it on the racetrack.
And I actually think that's the braking zone the driver can adjust with the most, because that car, I believe, was still turning too much. Jeff, that head-on angle, we see guys kind of get it, turned and then get the car straight to keep load equal on the 2 front tires. Parker.
Right, Steve, and there's a lot of creativity in that corner. Like you mentioned, you can keep it a little tighter to the right side and sort of drive and brake towards the wall and then turn the car maybe a little earlier down the corner. And then you have some who like to get onto the banking sooner and straighten the car up. And that's probably the trickiest braking zone here at this track, because the other ones are harder, right? Into turn 1 is a harder braking zone. Into turn 7 is a harder braking zone. But that one, as you mentioned, it just has a lot of creativity, and how you load up those front tires is really important. It's sort of down to what you want to do as a driver and if it matches what you have setup-wise in the car.
And at this time of year, we're always talking about drivers' contracts and extensions. And just today, Eric Jones and Petty GMS announced that there will be a multi-year extension for Eric Jones at the 43. They signed that today. So that news coming out. He has a future, obviously, an extended future with the Petty GMS organization.
I think that's a great move for Petty GMS. You got a young driver that is hungry, he's talented, he's won cup races, he's done a nice job in your cars, and continuing that relationship, I think it's a really, really smart move.
Christopher Bell is fastest in this Group B practice session. Again, just under 5 minutes to go for this second group. Bell, Reddick, Allmendinger, Harvick, Joey Hand in the top 5. Huge weekend here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So much history here. Surprisingly, a lot of you might not know this, but back in the time when some of these pictures were taken, there used to be a person that would sit on the outside of the car and put oil in it while they were racing. I don't know if I would have wanted to have that job back in the day. Busy day today on NBC. IndyCar, they will take to the track at noon, and then at 3 o'clock, Countdown to Green starts it for the Xfinity Series at 3:30. Dale Earnhardt Jr. will actually, on a crossover weekend, will be with the NTNT IndyCar Series broadcast. And then tomorrow, actually later this afternoon, for the Xfinity Series, James Hinchcliffe will join us for that broadcast. So NASCAR, IndyCar coming together.
Rick, didn't I tell you that I entered us in the vintage car race here next year?
Okay, I'll drive, you do the oil.
No, I've assigned you as the
oil
race oil adder dude. That's your job.
As long as I can stay on pit lane, I'm good with it.
Oh my goodness, the crazy things that have happened. Junior.
Down here on the pit road with Eric Almirola, I want to ask Eric, we want to know about your race car, but first off, when will we all get to find out what you're going to do next year?
I already told you back in January that I was going to be done. I don't know. It's a lot of moving parts. Just trying to sort through it all. The sponsor, the race team, and myself, and everybody's been in constant communication, just trying to figure it all out. But I am having fun. We're enjoying coming to the racetrack every weekend, and that's one thing I really have enjoyed this year is just being in the moment, being present, not just going through autopilot, and enjoying every weekend, and I have been. So this weekend here, so far, Mobile One gear wrench Ford Mustang's pretty good. I don't do the best of jobs on road courses, but I feel like my car is really good.
What are you struggling with out on the racetrack? What are you guys trying to improve?
I feel like my car is good. I never do the greatest job in the braking zones. I never know how much I can get in the braking zones without making a mistake. And I don't want to be that guy that goes through there and flat spots a tire and blows a tire and rips the fenders off. But I also got to be more aggressive. So we'll see if I can get a little more out of the braking zones here in qualifying.
Thank you, Eric. Good luck this weekend.
Practice is just wrapped up, and Chase Elliott, he is 6th fastest in Group B. It was Christopher Bell that was the fastest. We'll reset and get the cars ready for qualifying, which is coming up here next. Group B practice just wrapped up. It was Christopher Bell that was fastest. Overall, that puts him in 5th as far as the fastest laps that have been turned overall from Group B and Group A. But you've got Reddick, Allmendinger, Harvick, Joey Hand all in the top 5. An interesting mix here because each will, in qualifying, go out in their separate groups. And you see the rules for qualifying. It'll be 15-minute group qualifying, the 2 groups, Group A and Group B, and then the top 5 from each will advance to the final 10-minute round.
Yeah, we saw this style of qualifying yesterday, and tires seem to fall off too much to go out and really improve. But, Jeff, I think it looks different with this car. These guys' fastest lap are not lap 1 or 2 on tires. So we may see bumping continually. Cars continue to get faster as the session goes through.
The question is, do you send your driver out and say go run 3 laps in a row, or do you send the driver out, run 1 lap, come in, cool tires, and go last another lap? Be interesting strategies played in these groups.
14 turns here at the Indy Road Course. That means 14 opportunities to be great or to make a mistake. When we come back, they'll be on the clock, Group A, for qualifying. Last week, Motor Mouth was awesome. There were so many things to talk about, and we get our fill of it again coming up this next week, Monday and Wednesday at 6 o'clock. Dale Jr. Download, again, streaming on Peacock as well. And you can call in. Remember, when it comes to NASCAR America Motor Mouth, you, the fans, can join in. Call in at 844 NASCAR NBC as the cars are rolling for this first group of qualifying. Group A taking to the track. They'll want to separate themselves, give themselves plenty of distance between themselves and the cars in front of them.
And there's quite the, no one seems to be sitting on pit road, Jeff. Looks like it's going to be almost a full field here.
Yeah, I think based on your point a while ago about tires not really falling off, I think you want to be on track early, and then you're going to have to pay attention to what other drivers are doing. If you're third, or unless you lay an unbelievable lap down, you're going to have to stay ready to go this entire session, Parker.
Yeah, guys, we go on board here at Denny Hamlin. We saw in practice in Group A that he was really struggling in the braking zone, so I just had a little chat with him before he hopped in this car to go out and qualify, and he said, really, it's just I was fighting inconsistencies in the braking zone. He said I'd have a marker, I'd push it a little bit further, and then I'd lock up the tires or just couldn't get the thing to stop. So we're really working at that and trying to figure out what's going on there. He did make a joke and say that he was achieving lap time in the most inefficient way possible, and he would like to switch that to being the most efficient way possible here into qualifying. So keep an eye and see if Denny Hamlin, that 11 team, can get him more comfortable under the brakes here in qualifying.
So Parker, when you say that, the thing that concerns me about that, if they can't find a way to fix it, is the raceability of that car, because to make a pass, you have to out-brake somebody on the road courses. So how difficult will that be for Denny?
Right, and that's the thing, right, Jeff? Because it's like when you make that pass, it might be that you push your braking zone 5 feet, 10 feet, 20 feet maybe. You do that because you get that position on the car beside you, and almost you don't take the corner in the fastest way, but you force them to not be able to turn in the corner. But if you have inconsistencies in the brakes, as you know, that makes it really tough to trust that car down the brake zone.
Where we're looking right here, guys, is kind of between turns 11 and 12, and that yellow line you see right there, that is an alternate start-finish line. So basically that's where your lap will start and stop. They do this simply to reduce the number of laps. If you leave the regular start-finish line to get one time lap in, you have to be out there for 3 laps, and helps with traffic, helps with everything else. So there's an alternate line down here at the south end of the racetrack between turns 11 and 12. We see Kyle Larson out there. You mentioned spacing yourself. I was wondering if they were looking for the space or if you were better off to have kind of a rabbit to judge. It seems like William Byron has purposely only been about, 15 car lengths behind his teammate Kyle Larson here.
If that. And so these two cars fairly close on the clock now. So we'll see each lap right at about 90 seconds.
You mentioned William Byron. He struggled in practice. In his group, he was only 16th fastest. So maybe looking to try to follow a little bit.
Chastain fastest right now in this group, 129.38. Again, the top 5 advance. Suarez now faster at 129.18.
Truex surprisingly already 6th and out of that top 5 that advance.
So the interesting thing now is, are they going to keep running? Do they keep running? Do they run multiple laps? Or do they pit, cool tires off, and go back and make another run?
Big lap for Chase Briscoe, 128.60. Kyle Busch, 128.84, just got moved back by Gilliland and 128.80. Again, the top 5 are going to advance, and Harrison Burton jumps into the top 5 at 129.21. Jeff, you must have been working with him.
No, he did well.
Denny Hamlin not going to be happy with that lap, only 9th quick.
Now, you guys both mentioned the tires not falling off that much. Is this a situation where these guys are going to want to go right back out again?
Well, most teams, we were discussing it, most teams made the decision to go run one lap and then came to pit road. So they now have come to pit road. There are a few adjustments they can make to the cars to try to make the cars better. Very few adjustments. But then just I think the most important thing, Steve, is let the tires cool down and then go try to make another run. Look at all the data. What can I do better as a driver? And then go make another run.
Yeah, I think the most important thing is, why are you going back out? I know it sounds silly, but to Jeff's point about the data, let's take the 14 corners here, Jeff. You and I are going to have a conversation. I can look at everyone's data. I can say, this is where you're really getting beat by Briscoe. This is where we're really not, as fast as we need to be. And give the driver some tangible goals. Not, hey, just go run faster. Right. Oh, okay, thanks. Go run faster. How about, I need you to be faster in 1 or deeper in 7. Some tangible goals.
I think that's what's major different about racing today versus it was 5 years ago, is now, as you see Cindric, he's on a good lap. Looks like he's going to bump himself into the top 5 if he can get this last few corners. Getting ready to approach turn 10. This right-hander into 10. He's going to cross the start-finish line. Looks like he's comfortably going to be in that top 5. But to your point, Steve, where do you need to be faster?
Right.
And you have data to compare yourself to other drivers. They're a little bit quicker on corner entry. They're a little bit quicker on corner exit. But they can do that in every single corner. And that is just a ton of information for a driver to digest. It's one thing to say it.
Right.
It's another thing to say, okay, we have a 14-turn racetrack. We need you to be better in 7 and 9 and 12, right? How do you do that, right? That's very difficult to do in a 5 or 10-minute break.
And right away, everyone goes out. The first one on the track was the 5. Listen to his radio.
I forgot the start. The start line was over there in 11. So I just run to the green, did a job through 12, 13, all that. Then the rest was okay.
Yeah, the rest wasn't bad. Sorry, we'll get it cooled down and make sure you're ready to go again.
So basically what Kyle Larson is saying is, we showed you the alternate start-finish line. He forgot. So when his lap started over in turn 11, right here, he still has 3 more corners and half the front stretch before the start-finish line. So he's decent. He's 10th quick, which tells me he wasn't, really easing around there. But he definitely wasn't going as hard as he thought he should have been going in 12 through 14. I appreciate the honesty, but those are the one. Like, you try to think of everything. And I'm going to pick on Larson because he did it here. It happens to crew chiefs, crew members. Like, we all forget stuff every day in life. Where'd you set your car keys, things like that. There are a million things these drivers and teams and crew chiefs try to go over, and sometimes the simple ones are what get you.
Yeah, just at your point, Jeff. I mean, tell somebody 12, 13, 14, you got to be better there. Well, you've got 11 turns before you get there to worry about.
Well, a couple things. Number one, I'm glad he's not the only one that forgot, because I've been looking at start-finish line all day, looking at lap times. Number two is that there really is no covering it up anymore. As a driver, there were times that I could tell the team the things I really wanted them to know, that I thought was the most important for them to know, without telling them the whole story. The data doesn't allow you to do that anymore. They know it as it's happening live, and I'm sure they were looking at the data at the moment doing, what's my guy doing here? Like, what's happening?
Yeah, so 19 drivers went out immediately and put down a lap, and now they're cooling the cars off. They'll go back out for another one. Only 90 seconds for a lap here. Junior.
Down here in the Tyler Reddick pit, watching Tyler go over some SMT, I'll give you guys one guess on which car he's comparing himself to on SMT.
Briscoe.
Thank you.
The 20 car. So he's out there comparing himself to what he thinks is the best car on the racetrack from his practice laps. He's particularly paying attention to turns 10, 11, 12, 13, finding some ways to get through that corner a little bit quicker. Bell seems to be doing it better than him. So these guys are down here. Tyler's getting ready to climb in this car just a minute from now and go out there and make his qualifying lap, but they're taking every minute. We can't even have an opportunity to really ask him a question because he's so in-depth studying what he's getting ready to do, trying to improve, trying to prepare, and they can compare, obviously, against all of the drivers in the field. Anyone they choose, they get that information. It's pretty interesting to be down here in the pits and watching that live.
Hey, Junior, I'm curious about something. As a driver, would you like to be comparing against the guy that just made the best Q lap in Briscoe, or would you be wanting to look at a race trim comparison with the same guy that was in your group? I personally would be looking at qualifying laps right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think if he could get that information, that would absolutely be what he'd want to be comparing himself to. But He's studying what the 20 car was doing, especially in the final few corners of the racetrack, trying to improve on the line there. And you can see well, I watched that with him a little bit, and you could see some things that he could probably tidy up just a little bit. So he's just trying to really improve his line a little bit. I think also, you know, if you can compare against qualifying and see how far a guy goes into the braking zone and so forth, but to be able to just clean his line up, I think basing off of Christopher and what Christopher did in practice is probably a good gauge for him. He feels like his car has the pace and the speed that it had the most recent road course winner at Road America. Tyler Reddick out there, going to go out there and try to get the pole.
We know he's going to be fast. He's just waiting their turn. They're in the next group, so they will be out on the track here momentarily, as now we're starting to hear some more cars fire back up and make their way back out onto the road course here at Indianapolis for a second run.
So Rick, here's what I think is so difficult, and why I asked Junior that question is Chase Briscoe is fastest so far. He picked up over a second from what he ran in practice. So how do you do that? Where is that second? When you put new tires on, when you get that car ready to go blast off a lap for qualifying, and you got to go pick up 1.3 seconds is what he did. That's why I think qualifying is so difficult. In today's world, there was a time where Steve would have given me 4 tires. He would have given me 4 tires. We would have had enough practice, and he said, go out there and figure out how to make a qualifying lap. Tell us what the car didn't do right. We'd come in and make changes, and off we'd go. They don't get that today. They got to go find that lap time right now, and I think that's just exceptionally challenging for these drivers. They do an incredible job. Make it look easy, but it's anything but.
Jeff, I actually walked back over to Tyler, and he is now looking at Briscoe's lap. So he thinks you got a great idea there. It takes a little bit of time for that information to get down here to those guys, but he is now studying Briscoe's lap to see what he can do better.
And now the whole of pit road will be studying Chastain's lap here, because they want to know what kind of opportunity there is to improve. Like, does everyone think they need to go out and run, or does Briscoe and Cindric think they're comfortable? We're gonna, you know, what can the one car do? You see right away he's decent. He's almost equal to Suarez.
We're comparing now to the 99 of Suarez. He is 5th, and again, each group, the top 5 advance to the final round of qualifying to determine the top 10 and the pole. And you see a lot of cars right now in the green making their second runs here. Again, this is comparing to Suarez.
Well, and Suarez is compared to himself. So even the 5th place car, he's not going to wait. He is so confident he can improve his lap, or others will be able to improve his lap. He's out there trying to better what was already good enough. See Chastain tries to get back around to this alternate start finish. Doesn't look like it's going to be good enough. So he's a little slower, about a 10th slower than what he had run earlier.
We do think there's some opportunity for lap time based on what we saw in practice with tires not wearing out. We do believe there is an opportunity if you hit your laps to improve what you ran on your first time.
Eric was a little too hard on himself, I think, in the braking zone. Maybe he's trying to deflect some of the pressure to try to go do it. This is a nice lap, although he gave up a little there in the braking zone. This area is just more technical than you think. Slipping and sliding, and you see he's giving up time.
And we're now hearing that the 3 car, an unapproved adjustment on pit road. They will not be able to continue. He can't go out for a second lap. Right now, Austin Dillon is 16th, so he will not be able to try to improve that time.
Looks like Blaney, he's on a good lap right here. I don't think he got the lap that he wanted in that first session. Was much more competitive in the practice session. He's going to go by the start-finish line right now. And indeed, moves him to 5th.
Blaney up into the top 5. Look at the smoke. That was in front of Ryan Blaney. Here's Brad Keselowski in the 6. Right now, 0.6 of a second slower than what Blaney just posted. Larson in the green and then back into the red. .88-second lap. Briscoe, Cindric, Gilliland, Kyle Busch. Parker.
Well, guys, before we got got into this qualifying session, we noted the struggles that Denny Hamlin was having in practice. Take a listen to his radio after the first run.
Unfortunately, Bub, you lost most of it the last couple of corners there. Temper. Give it my best chance. The S is where we've not been good in practice. I made an adjustment there. It just doesn't work. It looked to me like you come out of 7 really far track left, and got any tools you can show me? Yeah, we're getting ready to.
And that's all that info right now going through turn 7 that he noted there, and that means getting too far to the left to set up for turn 8. Remember, he was struggling in the braking zones, and looks like it's close on this lap to get in the top 5, but a lot of information to digest there, guys.
I think a name that's jumped up into the top 5 here, Todd Gilliland, the 22-year-old from Sherrills Ford, North Carolina. I think is going to surprise quite a few people if he's able to stay up here in the top 5. And with qualifying, the clock ending, anyone who was on a lap prior to that clock ending, their laps will still count, which is Truex and Kyle Busch. Truex right now almost a second off of what Blaney in 5th has posted.
You talk about Todd Gilliland. Remember Todd won that road course at Coda. He's a really good road racer in the truck series he won, and he's a really good road racer, enjoys doing it. Spends a lot of time out at GoPro on his go-kart, trying to hone those road course skills.
I think Kyle Larson would love to have that first run back.
Shut it down. Shut it down.
There you go. Shut it down. There's no reason to keep going, no reason to get the motor too hot. This lap's not going to be good enough. William Byron looks like he's on a fast lap as well. But just, the pace just not there. So, Jeff, that tells me that, you go out with low air pressure and race trim, the tires don't lose a lot of grip. But if you put a little air pressure in them and you go qualifying, they're still best when they're new. We did have the opportunity to improve, and Blaney was able to do that on his second run, but he was the only one that went fast enough on his second run to get into the top 5.
It's true. Keselowski did go faster, but he was not fast enough to get into the top 5, but went faster on a few laps on his tires.
Yeah, Blaney's 3rd lap was his fastest lap. Keselowski's 3rd lap, as well as Almirola, Hamlin, Justin Haley, all faster laps.
At this time.
And it does not look like the 24 is going to make it in. So Briscoe, Cindric, Gilliland, Kyle Busch, and Blaney from Group A will go to the second round. Busy day today on NBC at noon. The NTT IndyCar Series will be racing. Dale Earnhardt Jr. will be joining that broadcast. Then at 3 o'clock, Countdown to Green gets things started for the Xfinity Series, and James Hinchcliffe will join us for that Xfinity Series broadcast at 3:30. So a lot planned here for racing today from Indianapolis as we take a look at the top 10 in qualifying for Group A and 5 advanced. Those are the ones in yellow. So Daniel Suarez just outside of that top 5. And again, a good qualifying effort for Todd Gilliland. Only the second time that he has made it into the second round of qualifying. That was Martinsville earlier this year. Next up, it will be Group B on the clock when we return. Interesting spectator here in the infield at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, making his way away from the track now. The car's maybe a little bit too loud for him. As Group B about to take on the track, clock has started for Group B qualifying. Are we going to see a similar situation where they'll all go out, run one lap, come in, cool them off, and go out for a second?
Yeah, I think that's the best strategy for everyone. You get your first lap in right away. That gives you the maximum amount of cooling time for the car before you have to go try it again if you're not successful or fast enough. I love this shot right here, right off the right rear spoiler.
One thing I found interesting in that first group is that there was only 0.4 of a second. That separated the pack from each other. It's very close. The times are very close. It tells you every little thing matters. So you've got to be perfect on your braking. You got to be perfect on acceleration. It's all the things that Junior was telling us that they were looking at on pit road, looking at data. Now you got to apply it. and it's so close. Any small thing will keep you from being in that top 5.
Jeff, I don't want to jinx Christopher Bell, but we were on board that right rear spoiler, and he seemed very easy on the controls. I hope he didn't make the Kyle Larson mistake of not running hard to the start-finish. Maybe he's just that smooth. I mean, it's hard to test or, you know, visually see speed a few tenths of a second, but, man, that trip through 12, 13, and 14, Rick, looked awful controlled for a driver trying to go qualify. Great shot. Christopher working right here. You see the shifter in his right hand. It's basically, so in this area right here, that's a sequential shifter. I didn't break it, Rick. It wasn't me. Wasn't because of me. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of lap he runs. If it's not as good as we expect, maybe we will listen in to just make sure he knew where he was taking the green. Remember, if you look on the left-hand side in the pylon, the start-finish line is really over here. That little spot right there, kind of where he's getting ready to come into.
Right here. So his lap is complete now.
And that's 0.5 of a second off Logano.
That was a good lap for Logano.
A little over 1/10 of a second slower than what we saw out of Briscoe, who was fastest in Group A. So Group B is picking things up here. Bell at a 1:29. Harvick also up in the top 5 on their first lap. Buescher and Custer. Now Custer out.
Reddick to the top of the board.
And now, if we look back, Reddick said he was going to be checking out Briscoe's information. Well, the two of those drivers separated by 1/10 of a second, so he must have paid close attention.
Chase Elliott, 29-1.
Now 11 drivers, 12 drivers have taken time, and again, only the top 5 will advance to the next round.
Alex Bowman, you're seeing he's 1.3 seconds off.
Yeah, he's not.
That's off Reddick's time.
Oh,
make sure that they're now shooting to get inside the top 5. So Harvick is what they'll all be compared to 1:29.29.
Smoke in turn 12 is a consistent look. Oh, 51 has looped it around.
Cody Ware.
That is also between 11 and 12 that he had spun out.
And if he was getting ready to start his lap, then obviously terrible time to spin out. But if he was finishing his lap, which it looks like he just did at a 1:31.31, so he'll make his way into and on the pit road. That's Ty Gibbs behind the wheel of the 45, subbing for Kurt Busch, out for the second week in a row now after the qualifying accident at Pocono a week ago.
I like this approach for the 45. Let's get the track a little quiet. It might not be optimal for track conditions or cooling your car down to run again, but let's try to make this qualifying a little simpler for Ty. Not have traffic out there, give him a clear track. He's in the green, putting a nice early half of a lap together, going down to turn 1, heavy braking. Right-hander Jeff, and now into this slow infield section.
It's really so slow, requires a lot of patience. Have to use all the racetrack. Look at all the curve being used.
How impressive is this lap if he can stay there? For Ty Gibbs, just his second ever start in the Cup Series. Can he make it into the top 10?
I think Ty Gibbs, this is right where he, in my opinion, this is right where he wants to be. He's very comfortable on road courses. Had a chance to prepare this week. Braking zone's really important right here.
Not a surprise. He's perhaps a little off in the braking zone. That's where he's going to have the least amount of experience in this car versus everywhere else.
Trying to fight back, get into the top 5, maybe make it into the second round.
He was wide right there in 8 and 9.
And not enough on his first lap. He is currently 10th fastest. Junior.
And we're down here with driver Adam Yolen in the top 5 in that first group, man. You got to feel great about that. How'd you get it done?
Yeah, man, it definitely does feel really good. It's my first time here at Indianapolis. Like, just this place in general is so cool. So, but I mean, it's the Cup Series, man. It takes everything. It's that's one thing I've definitely learned this year is, I felt like I got an okay lap, but I mean, definitely a great job by my team to bring me a fast, Ruta Bush Ford Mustang here this weekend. Obviously, my teammate Michael McDowell is a really good road course racer. We've been able to learn so much from him throughout the year. We've seen him have a lot of good runs at the road courses and really just everywhere. So it's been really awesome just to keep growing our team. The next gen car has been a huge part of that, and really for us, that's what makes us feel good, is to be able to come here. If you have a great setup, if I can put down a good lap, we can contend in the top 10 there.
That's funny. I confused you with Adam. You know Adam in the sim racing world. Todd, what are you going to be doing to prepare for this next round?
We were just looking at a bunch of SMT. Coming from the truck series, that's something that's new to me, is the SMT. So it's just so cool to have so much information in the Cup series. You can really, pick people apart, see what they're doing. But I mean, just because me, the hard part is going out there and doing it. So it's nice though, man, to be able to get out, think about it, talk to everyone, and hopefully go. It's crazy how your mindset switches. Now we're going to fight for the pole here.
All right, buddy. Good luck. Have fun out there. Adam, if you're watching, I hope you got a chuckle out of that one.
Junior, I was pretty sure Todd was going to change his name. If Dale Jr. is going to call me Adam, I'm just going to go with it.
Hey, you know what I love about that interview is Todd, we're going for the pole.
Yeah.
Right? He didn't say, hey, man, I'm just happy to be here. Good day. He's like, now we're going to go for the pole. I love that attitude.
So another thing he brought up is the SMT data. We talk about it. So really simple. All of these cars report back to the pit stand, all the driver inputs, where they're on the racetrack, steering, brake, gas, everything you need to learn as a race car driver, or to kind of cheat and look at what your competitors are doing. From the truck series, they don't have that technology. So when we talk, hey, what's different about racing on Sundays? It's more than just the cars and the competitors. It's the process. It's the tools. It's the expectation, the crowds, the pressure. Everything changes. That was a great little insight on all the little things he has to learn. We know he can drive.
Yeah.
Now it's how do you take that skill set and apply it on a Sunday?
The driver who won this race a year ago, A.J. Allmendinger, might not be as happy about this car as he was a year ago listening to his radio.
Like, there's no help with the rear of the car laterally. It's just, like, as soon as I turn the wheel, it just steps absolutely sideways on me, and then I try to lay power down, and it's so freaking hard to drive. Like, I don't get where we're missing it.
So that's a really good description of what he's not, he's part of the solution, is what I heard there. Like, look, I hear you. I don't know what we're missing, but I've won in kart. I've won in Xfinity. I've won in Cup. I know what I need the car to feel like. Forget what tools that is. When I turn the wheel and I step on the power, something has to tell my butt or my head or my right foot that the right rear tire is there and I can put the power down. What I heard right there is, I don't know what we're missing, but there's a disconnect. When I ask the car to do X, it does not give me the response I need. It's really as simple as that. I know that sounds really kind of elementary, but there's two things. A car has to be set up with maximum amount of potential, the most aerodynamic potential, most horsepower potential, and then you have to put the right parts and pieces in it, Jeff, to give you, the race car driver, to have confidence to put the car in all the right positions.
The other thing, when talking about A.J. Allmendinger, his teammate, Justin Haley, is only 11th fastest in the first session, in the first group. So clearly, overall as a team, Justin's a good road racer. Clearly, overall as a team, they're missing just a little bit of something.
Well, Jeff, we talk about the new car. We talk about a lot of different things. One thing that we've kind of just shied away from because it hasn't been a really big story is the independent rear suspension. So the back of these cars, Xfinity and trucks forever, it's basically a solid rear axle, left to right. Has truck arms, rear springs, and the car rolls very differently. The independent suspension means the right can move separate to the left. And it also can be adjusted with camber and toe. And I talked to these drivers, and a lot of them talked to me that your initial turn into the corner, that rear suspension feels different, just for a split second, whether that's the low-profile tire or the suspension. And those thoughts came back when I heard AJ, because it's kind of like an instant feel or response he's not getting.
We're seeing Michael McDowell come back out onto the racetrack. We talked in practice earlier about how quick he was and how good that car was, and he's a great road course racer. But for some reason, that first lap out, he didn't even put down a lap that you would even think he was trying. He was 14 seconds, 18 seconds off of what the guys that are running right now in the top 5 were. So McDowell obviously missed something completely on that first lap.
Or rode around slowly on purpose to scuff his tires in just a little bit, get his tires where they're ready to go this lap. That may have been purposeful. It may have been an idea. Hey, let's go out, don't run a hard lap, let's scuff our tires in, and have the best part of the tire for this run. That's also a possibility.
It's going to be hard for this team. They're having such a great year. You know, that penalty from last week, it's being appealed, but it's just going to be hard to have that not be a distraction or take away the momentum of the season. So I think it's really important how they react these next few weeks, regardless of where the penalty ends up, appealed, whether it gets turned over or not, doesn't matter. It's still just a distraction for the team. Blake Harris on top of the pit box, you know, getting his kind of feet wet in the crew chiefing level, has found a way to give McDowell what he needs. And Jeff, if they did scuff these tires on purpose, genius move so far, as it's 2.5 tenths up on Harvick in 5th.
Well, remember, his teammate's Todd Gilliland. Todd Gilliland in 1 lap, laid a lap time down. He's 3rd. So they've got a good setup. They got a good package to go out and make a lap here. McDowell is a very good road racer.
He's staying in the green right now. Again, that's compared to Harvick. The top 5 will advance to the final round of qualifying. Top 5 from Group A, top 5 from Group B, and now 0.3 of a second on Harvick.
Dropped a tire off in the dirt. Looks like it hurt his pace a little bit onto the back straightaway. Hard braking into a left-hander right here. And now nice and tidy, right? How smooth can you be? Can you be too smooth and not push hard enough?
Looks to be pushing it. We'll see how it works out for McDowell. And McDowell bumps into the top 5. He's 4th quickest.
Impressive
P4
run
there, P4 fan.
Well, Jeff, if it was a scuff tire plan on purpose, it worked. A 34 currently in the top 5. Sloppy, it sounds like. I think that was the Bowman radio. I couldn't tell.
Let's go down to Parker.
One team that's not going to the scuff tire theory is the 22 Joe Logano. Catch him as crew chief Paul Wolf. So you guys got it on the first lap. We thought there might be some pace in the second lap, but you don't think so?
No, based off of how the first round went, Parker, we were monitoring that. Unless you really screwed up your first lap, didn't seem like guys were able to find any more speed. So Joey did a nice job laying down a fast lap here in round 1, and I think that should hold.
So we're seeing a lot of guys trying to push it very far in the braking zone. They're trying to use S&T and all the data. What have you guys been working on to find the speed in this 22 in practice and now here in qualifying to be in the top 5?
Well, I think for us, it's really just trying to find rear grip. It's kind of what we work on every week. We came here trying some new stuff. We've been off a little bit on the road course stuff, so us and the two are trying something a little new for us this weekend. And so far, practice qualifying, it seems to have speed. We'll see how it translates to the race.
And what do you look at all this data here? What do you try to convey him for this final round?
Well, I mean, you look at, you know, where guys are beating us, you know, and you look at the SMT, whether it's braking zones or, you know, rolling speed. Just try to give them all the info we can and make some fine adjustments and see if we can find a little more for the final round.
A couple things I take from that, guys, looking for that rear grip and some setup adjustments for the 2 and the 22 that seem to be working. Pretty cool.
Yeah, and also his comment that they thought the first lap was going to be the lap, and we did learn that McDowell actually missed turn 1 on his first lap out, so he did indeed not ride around. He missed turn 1, so it was not a plan coming into it. Yep, he just missed the corner and then went out and fixed it and had a good lap, got themselves in the top 5.
Ty Gibbs, this is actually his 3rd lap. He was out there for 2 laps his first run, and a little slide there.
So that's a good example right there of just pushing the corner. Probably got told that, hey, you got beat on corner entry in some corners, went out to push a little bit, locked the rear tire up.
This is a driver I expect to improve greatly over the course of the race. I think his talent at the road courses are there. It's just a lap count, right? He's barely into double digits for the day. Get the Xfinity race behind him today. He'll have a great idea of what the track feels like and looks like, and then give him, you know, a couple hours in this race car, and I think he's going to continue to improve.
The 19-year-old on his 3rd lap, a little bit faster than his previous 2, but a learning experience, especially when you get the left sides over the other side of those rumble strips. Big weekend from Indy. Coming up next at noon on NBC, it is the NTT IndyCar Series Racing. Dale Earnhardt Jr. will be joining that broadcast. Then at 3 o'clock, countdown to green, 3:30, Xfinity Series Racing, where James Hinchcliffe will join our broadcast for the Xfinity Series. And actually, the two of them were able to learn the track, and it was James Hinchcliffe, who has a lot of laps around this place, that was actually schooling Dale Earnhardt Jr. Take a look.
Hey guys, Hinch here, sitting front seat in the Corvette pace car here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course. And my driver today, none other than Dale Earnhardt Jr. getting his first laps here at the road course,
That's right. I'm excited. You're going to tell me how to get around this place, right?
All right, let's school you, man. Let's teach you. Let's go.
This place is a lot of fun. I mean, I hear the drivers talking about that all the time.
The key to turn one, though, is actually not carrying too much speed, because you got to set up for turn two. So you hit your apex, don't let it exit all the way.
Oh, a lot of curve right there.
I love it. A little loose on power, that's normal.
Now, I don't know where to go here. I can't see, it's so flat.
There's no brake markers in turn four. It's so easy to overdo it. But again, you got to really focus on the exit here, because now it's the flat out chicane. Take all the curve on the left, all the curve on the right. Get your hands straight, hard on the power.
How was that?
That was pretty good, man. I feel like you've done this before. Now, this section's so important because you never want to go too wide on any of the exits here. You're always setting up for the next corner, so leave it in the middle. All the curve again in turn 8. All the curve and then some dirt if you want. Everything you like there. Nice.
We're breaking all the rules, Hinch.
We're breaking all the records, man. I don't think the pace car's ever been this quick around this place. All right, here we go. Last little section. Late apex for the last one.
Oh,
Nailed it.
A little better.
Nailed it.
Man, this is fun.
I think that'll put you in the top 10 at the Xfinity race.
I got to come try it. Man, I'm going to run here next year. This is great.
It's pretty fun, right?
It is.
That was cool, man.
Thank you.
Thanks for the ride.
That was a good time.
All right, well, I think he's going to have to ask permission. Junior, do you think Amy's going to let you come back here and race here in the Xfinity Series?
Yeah, I think I could talk her into it, man. This is a fun little racetrack, and those are my first laps around that place. And I learned so much more by being behind the wheel of a car to see just what the drivers are seeing, the perspective into turn 4, and how easy it is to miss that apex because you really have no reference, no braking cones or anything to really help you tell you where the center of the corner is. So you see that happen a lot for these drivers, and that sets up a really cool, important switchback of 5 and 6 down the straightaway. And also, getting into turn 13, I thought that corner was pretty straightforward. We talked about 12 in the braking zone. The apex into 13 is so far around the corner, you're so invited to turn in so early, but you end up going really, really wide, and so it kind of screws up that whole corner and then onto this front straightaway. So turn 13, getting that late apex without having somebody try to dive bomb you on the inside, that is a really good challenge right there. We're going to see that all weekend.
Junior, I'm curious why you were smiling more than Hinch, because he was, he looked like he was kind of gritting his teeth rather than smiling.
Yeah. You know, bud, I was the one behind the wheel, so I was having the most fun. But
yep,
I was so thankful. I was so thankful to have Hinch in there talking to me about all these things, and you know, with his experience around the racetrack and everything he knows about it, really helped me understand what the drivers are dealing with and some of the challenges trying to get through those corners. They're all so different. Some technical series, the 7, 8, 9, 10, all that stuff is a lot of fun, but now we understand a little bit more about what the drivers are challenged with.
And Junior, we appreciate you giving us a lap around here with Hinch, but it's time for you to get ready for the NTT IndyCar Series broadcast. So we'll handle the final round of qualifying, but we appreciate all your help from pit road. The drivers that will be making this, there's Graham Rahal getting ready for the race.
Steve, that's like you last night on the streets of Indy.
I'm telling you, man, I'm a bird scooter expert.
Easy way to get around the town here. So it's Briscoe, Cindric, Reddick, Logano, Todd Gilliland, Busch, Blaney, Elliott, McDowell, and Bell. They will all be out on the racetrack. There's going to be 10 minutes that they will be able to go out and try to post the fastest lap. Can we see the same thing here where they'll go out and then maybe make a second lap, or is it all going to be one lap, one and done?
I think in 10 minutes it's one and done, or 2 laps but in 1 attempt. I don't think you're going to have time to come to pit road, think you're going to make adjustments and go back out. Maybe a Hail Mary at the finish if you miss a corner or go off track. But I think if you keep it on the pavement or close enough to the pavement to call it a completed lap, I don't know how you're going to go for what would be your 3rd or 4th time on a heat cycle on tires. I think you're going to improve.
Yeah, I agree. Unless you make a mistake, you got to make this first lap count. Tons of pressure on drivers.
A lot of pressure, 14 turns here at the Indy Road Course, and the top 10 will be on it here in just a moment. At the top of the hour, the NTT IndyCar Series will take to the track. That is on NBC. Make sure to join us there. And that's the Indy 500 winning car back there, Marcus Ericsson, as we see the fans. And what a show it's going to be for the fans today. NASCAR and IndyCar together on the track today, and of course the Cup Series on track tomorrow. Just a really fun, festive atmosphere here.
Wow, what a great crowd.
Great place. And you looked at me like I had trouble with Marcus Ericsson's name.
I wasn't going to say anything, Rick. Listen, I've had 3 different drivers in the 48 car the last 3 weeks, so I'm not going to call anybody out on having the wrong names in. I had Jimmy in it 1 week. I had poor William Byron in it one. I mean, Alex Bowman, the guy continues to win and make the playoffs, and I can't seem to give him the credit that he's owed.
Ryan Blaney on track. And so now we'll find out what can these top 10 do. And the pole is on the line, Parker.
Right, and he was about 4/10 off the fastest lap in the first round of qualifying here, and I spoke to his crew chief, Jonathan Hassler, and said, all right, where do you need to find it? He said, turns 1 and 2, that's where he gave it up. If he can clean it up down there, we think we have a very fast car the rest of the racetrack. Keep an eye on that 12 car as he heads down towards turn 1 and 2.
You know what I can assure Parker, is every team has a corner they need to find something. So it's going to be.
That is very true.
Right? I mean, it's, I think that's always the hardest. Nice braking right there in the 12, though. We've seen a lot of front tire lockup, none right there. This is that 13 that Dale Jr. was talking about. Apex trying to get you to drive in early. And I think it matters because this right-hander just leads to the front stretch. You don't want to be out of position for this one.
Yeah, this leads to that front straightaway, and now he's approaching turn 1. So what is he thinking about right now? What did he need to do different? How does he apply that? It all starts under heavy braking. Watch the nose of the car drop right there. That's when he got on the brakes. Well, I will tell you from the looks of the car, I don't think he could have driven in any deeper. He barely made that corner.
In the first round of qualifying, Blaney ran an 89.02.
Such an important part of the racetrack. Again, this left-hander, super high speed, a 9-degree left-hander. Now into turn 8-9 complex, very slow, completely different mindset. Got to be very patient right here. Don't spin the rear tires. Get the car pointed in the direction it needs to be as quickly as you can.
And across the stripe, a 129. 129.19. He ran a 129.02 in the first round of qualifying. You look at everyone else here. There was a lot in the green there. Another Penske driver on the clock. And Logano goes 129.16. Cindric 128.60. So the 3 Penske drivers, they were 1, 2, 3. Now Briscoe has broken up that 3-car dominance.
How about Reddick right here? Look at this lap. Wow. 28.35 for Reddick.
All right.
Scoreboard 28.35.
Good luck to the rest of y'all. That's basically what Reddick just said right there. 28.3, the fastest thing we've seen on track out of the Cup Series. And that, I mean, that is a huge. When you beat Austin Cindric, Briscoe, Logano by that amount of time.
I missed it. We got more.
Well,
man, don't tell everybody.
The field doesn't.
Yeah, my goodness, what a lap for Reddick.
And remember, Junior was talking to us about how he was studying Christopher Bell's input, and then he studied Chase Briscoe's input, and now he goes out there and he puts up the best lap of the day.
Listen, a couple weeks ago, the story was Tyler Reddick signs with 23.11 for 2024, 18 months out. A lot of discussion. He's currently an RCR driver. He signs a 1.5 years away. Why? This is why. Because I think everybody sees what Tyler Reddick's potential is. He has a tremendous amount of talent, and now as his experience builds, now he's gone to Victory Lane at Road America. I think this is going to become an avalanche for Tyler Reddick as far as just fast laps and qualifying and success in races.
And the other part of that conversation was, can they have success together, knowing that that announcement was made so far in advance? And this is an example that they can. It's in everybody's best interest that they continue to have success. The best thing Richard Childress could do is to make this 8-car go fast and recruit the best driver he can to replace Tyler Reddick. So it's important for everybody for that car to continue to have speed.
Still to go. We have Bell on the clock now. Chase Elliott, Kyle Busch, and Michael McDowell all still have to make laps. But Reddick posting the fastest time we have seen on the road course for the Cup Series.
Well, Christopher Bell was the 10th quickest of the 10 that advanced. Now, does that mean his car isn't that great, or does that mean he has a little tire life left, that he didn't have to go out there and slide the tires all around? That question's going to be answered here reasonably soon.
He did a nice job in 12, 13, 14 complex, but the speed down the straight didn't correlate.
And Reddick thought enough of what Bell was doing on the track to study his driver input. And now Bell chasing after Reddick for that time and that pole.
Yeah, I like the, pretty calm hands, pretty calm inputs.
And remember, when you're looking at this lap time comparing to Reddick, Reddick is much quicker, 2.5 tenths faster than Cindric. So Bell's on a good lap right here.
Yeah, that's a great point. Reddick's lap is so good, you kind of lose touch of where these guys are going to clock in.
Yeah, this is looking like it could be second row as far as the starting position here.
Didn't get through that little complex right there of 9-10 very well.
Fourth quickest for Christopher Bell at 1:28.94. So he'll make his way back onto pit road now. Kyle Busch on the clock. Chase Elliott also on track now for his lap. 3 minutes remaining in this final round of qualifying. Kyle Busch being chased by the 9 of Chase Elliott. And Busch's lap.
I think Kyle's just taking the green.
Oh, just on, yep, they were on track, so they're just taking the green now. McDowell still has to take the green.
You mentioned the news about Tyler Reddick. Kyle Busch, sitting here right now today, does not know what he's going to be driving next year. See a big slide right there. That really hurt him. Look at what it's doing to the front straight speed. He just couldn't go to the throttle. The car got loose, and now it has absolutely destroyed the speed down the front straightaway.
Yeah, that one mistake was about a 3.5 tenths of a second off his lap time.
And he knows it, and that's what's so difficult from a driver's standpoint. He knows the lap is done, the pole opportunity is done.
A second off now for Kyle Busch. Chase Elliott, not a lot better. He's 8 tenths of a second. Making up a little bit of ground, but it's Kyle Busch a second off. Chase Elliott 7 tenths of a second off.
Yeah, we just, two Toyotas have made the final 10. Kyle Busch is going to be way off of Tyler Reddick. Chase Elliott, surprised to see him this far off also. The Hendrick cars haven't really had the pace we expected coming here.
We see the 18 finishing up his lap. Tomorrow, countdown to green. We'll talk more depth as to the disqualifications of the 18 and the 11 from Pocono a week ago, as McDowell now on the clock, and he starts off about a tenth of a second, 2 tenths of a second off the speed of what we've seen out of Reddick on his lap.
McDowell comes in here though believing he can win this race. There's a lot of tracks that McDowell and his team go to that everything has to be exactly perfect for them to get it done. His ability on the road courses gives them tons of confidence coming here. He believes he can take the fight to the big teams and take a win away.
McDowell's won before. He won on the biggest stage at the Daytona 500. Now he comes to a racetrack where he's more familiar, a road course. So talented on the road courses is McDowell, as we see McDowell about 0.3 of a second off of what Reddick has run. But again, this could be a second row starting position for McDowell if he can get through the final turns here.
Yeah, on the bottom right, you're going to see Reddick because he's out there again comparing to himself. So he's not even going to sit on his lap, afraid somebody could go faster. McDowell, 7th. No, 14 seems off the pace. Let's see what happens.
Well, we interviewed Chase a little while ago, and he said he tended to drive in the corners too deep, and he was right. Happened. But, you know, he's sitting there third fastest on his first lap, so just trying to go get a little bit more.
These drivers out for their second lap. Blaney now trying to improve. Gilliland trying to improve.
Reddick's trying to run the first and second fastest laps of qualifying on his rerun here.
How about Blaney? He was in the grass.
Parker.
Hey guys, the 8 team has told Tyler that your biggest competition just missed turn 1. You don't need to continue this lap, but he didn't want to listen. You heard him say he could maybe go faster, and he was trying to prove that right now.
No, that's on him.
Half a second off of what he ran his first lap, but still, that would have slotted him in 4th.
Yeah, he ran 2 laps that would have been top 4 fastest. So Logano 5th as well, not fast enough to improve his lap time. So Tyler Reddick, impressive.
Just the 2nd career pole for Tyler Reddick, the 26-year-old from Corning, California.
Job, buddy. Thank you guys. Great effort. Great job by everybody. We got good cars on these road courses, and we're capable of getting poles. So good job of getting back, finding our way back to 1.
I think this is huge for this team. I mean, we talked about it earlier. He's leaving. You know he's leaving a year and a half in advance to go out and sit on a pole with all that on your shoulders, all that conversation. I think this is big for this team. This reminds them that they can put that behind them. They can go and compete, and that's in all their best interests. This is a big deal for this 8 team.
It was a distraction, the announcement, and even Richard Childress came out and said timing couldn't have been worse, but there's still the opportunity for Tyler Reddick to go out and win a championship. I mean, he's got another opportunity here in front of him with a road course. He's got Charlotte, the Roval. We know he's very good there, and he's been competitive everywhere else. Let's take a look at the starting grid now for tomorrow's race. Tyler Reddick and Austin Cindric, 2 youth up there in row 1.
Yeah, the front 4 rows full of heavy hitters. Briscoe so close a year ago here. Chase Elliott's won a road course race. And 7 of them in his career, looking for his first this year. Kyle Busch got that Toyota inside the top 10.
Tim Burton, Eric Almirola making up row 7 there. We see Bubba Wallace back here in 10 alongside last year's winner A.J. Allmendinger.
Ross Chastain way back in row 11.
Yeah, Truex as well, row 13. Just surprised the speed of that 19 or the lack of speed out of that 19 at some of these road courses.
Joey Hand, row 14. Keep an eye on him. He's been very fast. Eric Jones hadn't had a good day.
Danny Kvyat and the 26 will be on the outside of row 18. Parker.
Tyler Reddick gets his 2nd career pole with a monster lap there, almost 3/10 faster than 2nd place. Did it feel that good? Where did that come from?
It actually didn't. That was what really prompted me to want to rerun there. But yeah, it ended up being a good enough lap. You know, I could have done a better job, but it was really nice to know that we really did such a great job. Everyone at RCR, ECR Power Under this Hood, just this whole group, this 8 team did a really good job of preparing the last couple of weeks for this race. And yeah, looks like we're picking right back up where we left off at Road America, so it's nice.
Very impressive lap for Tyler Reddick and this 8 team, bringing a lot of speed here at Indy, guys.
Thanks, Parker. So a guy who thinks he could find more was faster than anybody in the field. How about faster than Mario Andretti? That'd be pretty awesome to be walking pit road right now with that great Casey Kane you see there just in front of him. And IndyCar Series coming up at noon on NBC.